Okay. Good morning, Rabbi Sai. How is everybody doing? Very busy morning this morning. Where are we? Today is 42 days in the Omer. Hayoim Shnaim V'Arbaim Yoim Shem Shisha Shavuos BaOmer. Only 1 week away from Matan Torah. Unbelievable. I'm just curious if anybody was saved by the Sphere Omer thing, or I'm just reading it for no good reason. Today, believe it or not, we have 5 sponsors. We started out with 2, then started growing through the night, and I have a little bit of an explanation for it. I'll read an email. This one is dedicated by Michael Sugarman. I want to dedicate the shir in honor of my granddaughter's birthday, Chov Zayin Iyar. She's my first grandchild, and we share the same birthday. Her bas mitzvah is today. I'm 65 and never learned Gemara. I started in January with brachas and have continued to the present time. I got behind, but now I'm caught up. I really appreciate the way you present the material, the chevra, and your dedication to the shir. I usually watch the shir on YouTube the following day, but hope to watch live someday soon. All the best. Keep up the good work, and thank you for providing this avenue for learning Talmud. Michael Sugarman. Some people were asking me, it seems like from all these emails that we have all these guys that just started learning, and is that... it's a whole mix. That's the whole point of the shir. We have the Hasidim from Borough Park. We have the guys from Crown Heights. We have the Talmidei Chachamim. I'm not saying the guys from Crown Heights and Borough Park now, but we have guys in the shir that are Magidei Shiurim. We have Menachem Mata, who, if I'm not there, he just opens up and starts giving over shir without preparing. You know, we have the gamut. It just happens to be that I have a soft spot for all these guys that just start learning and didn't open up a Gemara for a long time. I really do have a soft spot, but it's not to say that the shir is only for those kind of guys. We have the guy from Lakewood, the Rav, and from California. What happened to that Rav from California? That Rebbe from the yeshiva that used to email us. I wonder if he's still on. Okay, so that's that. That's the birthday part. Let's go to the Lili Nishmas. Today, this sponsor was months ago. He put it already into the system. Sponsored by Bernard David. That's our Rosh Chabura of Manchester, which happens to be that Philip Rose from our Chabura Manchester is turning 70 years old. Sponsored by Bernard David for Yehuda ben Doiv Ber Zechron Levracha, my father Zechron Levracha. So Yishkoyach Bernard's son, who's in Koilel, a Koilel guy, comes to our shir every single day. And he listens, he doesn't have Zoom, but he listens every single day on Zoom today. Lilu Nishmas Imi Mirasi Rus Shaina Bas Eliezer Zechron Levracha. Lilu Nishmas Nachum Meir Ben Tzion HaKoyen Zechron Levracha. And this is dedicated by Yoshua Aaron Price. Some undercover operations, he tells me. L'zeicha Nishmas Ruchama Chaya Fruma Alea Shalom Bas Reb Doiv Pinchas. Now, I'll explain to you what he means by undercover operations. I'm not exactly sure the undercover and who the... So I'll tell you like this. There's I read an email a while ago. Where is it? Back in, I don't know. So that's 11 days ago. And this is written by Seth Hellman. And here's a picture, and you probably recall the first time Seth putting on tefillin. And I talked about Seth a few times. Also a soft spot in my heart. Somebody just started learning Torah. And he's there every single day from New Hampshire. You'll see him on Zoom. He's there. But this is what's very emotional. So he writes to me yesterday. Hello, Rebelli. I woke up today and got a call from Yeshua saying that I should have a package. I went downstairs and found this. If you could extend my gratitude towards whoever sent this to me, that would be amazing. I'm extremely appreciative of this gift and how everyone has welcomed me with open arms. Seth Hellman. What you'll see here is interlinear Siddur art scroll for Shabbos, interlinear Siddur for weekday, interlinear Tehillim, the art scroll Gemara Shabbos, and the art scroll introduction to the Talmud, and a card I couldn't read out. It said something from the Daf Yomi guys, something. Couldn't read it. But here's the package that Seth Hellman got, and when I saw it, it brought a tear to my eye because I know Seth, when he opened it up, he was excited, but trust me, there's many people out there that are emotional about this. It's Mika Amcha Yisrael. It's the Chevra sticking together, helping each other out. It's amazing. That's that. This is from Ronnie, just a picture of Ronnie learning the daf. What else do we have today? I sent a message to sponsor the Shil Zech Nishmas, my uncle. Nochameir ben Tzina Koyin, his yahrzeit is today. He passed away with no children a few years ago. Long-time listener, since beginning of brachas. First-time writer. Just wanted to echo the sentiments of so many emails before me. Between the jokes, the chevra, the absolute straightforwardness of the delivery Reb Eli makes, it's a pleasure to learn the daf daily. Like many who have written in the past, I too barely picked up a Gemara since my yeshiva days roughly 10 years ago, and now Baruch Hashem I do almost daily. I'm Baruch Hashem up to date. Tonight in the US, while listening to the shir, Reb Eli mentioned that you are running out of sponsorships. Not sure if he was kidding or not. At the same time, someone posted on my family chat reminding us about our uncle's yahrzeit. So 1 + 1 equals sponsorship. Wishing you and Yechever much continued atzlacha. A non-live YouTube listener, P.S. please let me know, blah, 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 thank you. So Yishkoyach for the sponsorship. I feel bad that today there were 5 sponsorships. Maybe everybody got together because I mentioned it, so they started finding bubbies and Zaidi, uncles, and we could give you your money back. You could do another sponsorship a different day. It's fine. Again, somebody asked yesterday, why does Eli need all this money? Well, it's to support our base measures, the brand new building that we built. Oh, by the way, tremendous news. Be'ezer Hashem, we are moving back into our building. On Sunday, we don't have a clear plan. The plan is to be careful, let only 20 people in with certain the social distancing. People will have to, Be'ezer Hashem, sign up. Let us know who wants to come, and we'll figure out, and we'll try to make a rotation. But it's a tremendous simcha for us. Yesterday, we got an amazing, one-of-a-kind table that holds almost 30 people. It starts off extremely wide and becomes narrower and narrower, so the people at the end could kind of like look without twisting their neck. It opens up in the middle as a bima. Unbelievable. Fits I think we have probably the coolest base measures in the world. A place that is conducive and just screams out, let's learn Torah, let's have fun while we do it. It's amazing. All right, one more here. This was Lili Nishmasim Miras Yerus Shaina Bas Eliezer. Well, miracles were happening during the 6-Day War. Our family is mourning my mother 53 years ago. We are comforted in knowing, going from Yom HaZikaron to the celebration of Yom Yerushalayim, may we see the complete rebuilding of our Beis HaMikdash. Thank you for saying Kaddish in her memory. Looking forward to seeing you in the Shir when I come soon. Phil Rosenblatt and family. Yasher Koyach, Phil Rosenblatt. All right. We're holding Daf Ayin Heyom at the base. Today's Daf Ayin Vav, the last and final Daf of the most famous, not the most famous, but the famous Klal Gadol, amazing perek in Shas. Says the Mishnah of Oid Klal Acher Omer. So if you recall, the first Mishnah of the perek starts Klal Gadol. There's a major rule. And now the Mishnah says, well, there's another rule. I don't know how major it is. It's a rule. Kol HaKosher Latzniya. Now, we are turning, this is the beginning, this is the first Mishnah of many. For the next 30 days approximately, we're going to be discussing the concept of Eitzah. The final melacha in the first Mishnah of our perek was Eitzah.
I'm sorry, Eli.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Just
Go ahead.
before you get started, just on a technical point, we're going to probably just create a Google form that we'll send out, and that's how they'll sign up, and then we'll get in touch with them about which week they should be coming.
Which week, which day, because everything is changing by the minute. So
For the questions of how do we sign up.
now,
so that's gonna be
I just want to point out that this major table with the 30 people is for the original group, the snobs, the clique. Everybody else is worthless, doesn't really deserve to be in the shir, but we do them a big favor when we let them in. Now, there was, all jokes aside, there's a big tumult about maybe the new guys should come in, but we're a clique, we're snobs, we don't really, whatever. So we might have to let these guys in two, like he said, in a couple of weeks. We'll let them in the back over there. We'll let them sit. No, it's everybody is one chabura. It's beseder. Don't get insulted. I know that people were upset. Why did he go and whatever? Okay, But it's challenging. These things are challenging. Who do you invite? Now, one thing we could say, the first thing I said to Noam last night was, we probably should invite Rabbi Schoenberg, the elders of the Shir. Mr. Kornbluth is already moved to Rechavia, but anybody, Dr. Epstein, and then he was like, no, the opposite, because over 65, they probably don't want to come on their own. Well, they're invited to come if they feel like coming and putting their lives in jeopardy. That's fine. They have Gedima. But anyway, we'll make room for the younger guys, the newer guys. Whatever, if you guys have recommendations, we'll do it. Zek the Mehelige Mishnah. V'oid klal acher amru. So, going back. So the last malacha in the first Mishnah, and also that's how the Masechta started, the halachas of Eitzah. Going from one domain to another domain with an object in your hand. And we're going to see that every object is different. It depends on what it is, and if it's a food, and there's a shear, there's a certain amount that you need to carry in order to be over this Aveira. V'oiklal acher amru. So this is really two rules here. It has to be an object that people typically store, they care about, they want. And it has to be umatzniin kamayu, and it has to be the right amount. So let's say you care about raisins, but one raisin is not enough. It has to be a certain amount of raisins. V'oitziu b'Shabbos, and you took it out on Shabbos. Chayev chatos olav. There's an Isser Hoitza to go from one domain to another domain, or to walk in the Rishus Harabim 4 Amos. And if it's an item that nobody cares about, the Gemara will bring a couple examples. And nobody, there's no shear, nobody hides this stuff, nobody stores it. And you took it out. You're not chayiv. So here the Mishnah, and we'll see a couple shitas here, 3 shitas. The Tanakama, the Tan in the Mishnah holds that if a person decides he likes dirt, he likes dirt in the street, so he's crazy. So for him, that's hoitzah. He just established that that's hoitzah. But for the rest of the world, we're normal people. We don't gather dust in our house, so we're not over on the hoitzah if we carry his dirt that he said, oh, this is chashav, right? Like the guy. I told you about the guy. I walked into his apartment, and he died a couple days later, and he's a hoarder. So he had dirty tissues. So because he thinks that that's important, that's why I should be over on Eitzah if I take out his dirty tissue. For him, it's Eitzah. Great. We'll see that no. This is Reb Elazar says. Reb Shimon ben Elazar says no. If I decide that this dirty tissue is chashuv and I keep it, then the whole world is going to have to suffer because of that. Everybody that touches that tissue and takes it out of the Rishus Harabim is chayv. Another sheet in the Gemara. Says the Gemara, what does it come to exclude? Rapapa Omar Lapuki Dam Nida. Dam Nida, once you already show it to a Rav, you don't need it anymore, it serves zero purpose. So what are you saving it for? Maruk Omar, unless you like that Rav that has different samples and he's teaching Talmudim, but it has no purpose, Maruk Omar. Lapuke Atzi Ashera. Atzi Ashera, the Gemara talks about the wood from Avodah Zarah. Not only that has no purpose, it's also ba'ana. I was just thinking now that, I don't know if, it's a joke really, but Atzi Ashera, the Gemara always says, it's Ketuse Mechta Shiurei. It's missing from the shear. So if you take a lulav from Atzi Ashera, you don't have a lulav that's 4 tefachim, whatever, it's missing from the shear halachically, even though it physically is 4, but it's as if it's ear. So over here also maybe, not really, but it's Atzi Asher is also bad. No, it doesn't have a shear, it's nothing. It's worse than Dam Nida. Says the Gemara, Manda Omar Dam Nida, Kolchkin Atzi Asher. Certainly, Atzi Asher, that's also bad. No, Dam Nida is not also bad. No. Manda Omar Atzi Asher, Ava Dam Nida, Matznalei. What purpose in the world could this dam serve? L'shunra. You want to feed it to your cat. V'idach, Kivin de Cholsha, Loi Matznalei. So very interesting, the Gemara says here that if a cat drinks that dam, the person that the dam belonged to becomes weak. So there's an interesting taisvus. The article actually brings down, he says, ayin in this taisvus. Looked in that taisvus in Nida Daf Yud Zayin. Taisvus says that if you burn your nails, it says a chassid burns his nails. You shouldn't throw it on the ground. It's dangerous. Chassid burns his nails. Says Taisus, amazing thing. If you burn your nail, you're actually harming you, because your nail that's detached from you is attached to you in a way. In a ruchnius way, it's attached to you. So if you burn it, you're harming you. So if you burn it, you're a chassid, because you don't care about the harm that it causes you. In other words, Taisus is saying it's not just blood. It's not nida. It's anything that belongs to your body. And you harm it, maybe even you take a haircut and you burn that hair, it could have an effect on you. If a dog drinks your blood from a wound that you have on the ground, it's dangerous to you. Very interesting. Omar Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, Hai deloik Reb Shimon. Our Mishnah cannot go like Reb Shimon by Yochai. Dik Reb Shimon Omar le'amru kol ha'shiurim halalu elo lematzniyayim. So Reb Shimon actually is arguing on our Mishnah in two different things. First of all, he's saying like this: a wealthy person who could care less about a certain shear, you think that 25 raisins is important. He's a billionaire. To him, 25 raisins is nothing. He needs a truckload of raisins. So the shear changes to him. Where our Mishnah says no. Common folk decide what the shear is. Just because you're wealthy, you don't get an exemption to that product. If you're going to carry 25 raisins, you're chayav like everybody else. The second thing that Reb Shimon argues on is that in our Mishnah, it seems like if somebody has less than the shear, he's not chayiv, right? Anything less. Says Reb Shimon, no. If it's less than the shear and I decide it's important, it is the shear. So says the Gemara. And if this is not an item that you typically put away, this doesn't fit Reb Shimon ben Elazar. Top of Daf Yomi Vav the side Challah Reb Shimon ben Elazar. Kol she'enoi kosher latzniya. This dirty tissue is not something you're going to put away. And you don't. And typically people don't do that. But this guy decided he wants to save it. And then another person comes along and does hoitzah with it. He's chayiv. Why? This guy's intent of keeping it and deciding that it's important, creates an important item, and you take it out, you're chayiv because of that guy. Says the Mishnah, every animal food has its own shear, and basically the shear is dependent on the type of animal. So if an elephant eats giant branches, then it would have to be a mouthful of an elephant, because the only animal that eats branches are elephants, right? Let's say. So Hamaitzi Teven. This is for illustrative purposes. I'm not 100% sure that I'm right here. I just couldn't figure it out, even from the art school. I couldn't figure out what they're talking about in terms of Teven and Kash. We did learn on Daf Lamed Vav a difference between Kash and Gvava. So perhaps that's what the Mishnah means. The bottom line is that there are two types of straw. One is suitable for a cow, and one is suitable for a sheep. The softer one is suitable for a sheep. Maybe the one closer to the ground is softer, so it's more suitable for a sheep. Fine. They're both called Tev and Kash. I'm not familiar. I'm not a farmer, so I don't exactly know the exact what it means, but picture to yourself two types of straw. Hamaitzi Teven Kimloi Pipara. If you take out a full mouthful of the straw that a cow eats, that's the shear. Eitzah, but if it's straw that Gemara explains from beans, bean straw, cows don't eat that. Kimloi Pigamal, who eats it? A camel. So the shear is a camel's worth. Camel's mouth is larger than a cow's mouth. So it's a larger amount of eitzah. So the largest amount that the Mishnah describes to us is a camel's mouth. Omir, if you have, how do you say Omir? Omir is this stuff here. The bottom stuff I'm saying. It's also a type of straw. Kimloi pitala, like a sheep's mouth. Asavim grass, kimloi pigdi, a gdi has even a smaller mouth. He eats grass. So it's a mouthful of grass. Ali shum vali psalim, garlic and onion leaves. So it depends. Lachim kigregeres. Now, we're going to see in the following Mishnah all human food, cereal, meat, steaks, whatever it is, kigregeres. That's halacha Moshe Sinai, a dry fig. Says the Mishnah that if they are moist, these leaves, then the shear is a gregeres, that fits into human consumption because we're dealing with human food now. Yeveshim kimloi pigdi. But if they're dried out, that's when a goat steps in and eats it, then it's the mouthful of a goat. In other words, if it's moist, it's not so much. Well, even if a gdi eats it, it's roy for humans, so it goes by a different shear. It goes by the shear of a gregeres. The aim mitzvah from zem zeh mepnei shleishava b'shiureim. So the Mishnah says a statement. The Gemara is going to explain the statement. It's not as simple as you think. Typically, the shiurim are not mitzvah. You can't take a camel's amount and add it to a half amount of a goat and put it together. Or maybe you could. The Gemara is going to say, "My eitzah." What does it mean? Eitzah is just the translation. Omer of Yudah tevin shel mini kitnis. This is bean straw. What happened? A guy takes out, he's doing it so with camel food, but it's the mouthful of a cow. It's only the right amount for a cow. A camel's mouth is much larger, so it's not the right amount. But he wants it for his cow. I'm sorry, he wants it for his camel. Rabbi Yochanan Machayev, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Omar Potter. Rabbi Yochanan says he's Chayev. Shimon says, Rabbi Lakish says Potter. Burta Omar Rabbi Yochanan Hachi. L'tzafra Hadar Bey. In the morning, he retracted. So the Gemara explains, Omar Rabbi Yosef, Shapir Avad the Hadar. It's a good thing. The Holy Chazi L'Gamol. At the end of the day, you took it out for a camel. It's not the right amount for a camel. Omar Abai Hadar Rabbi, Kindim Mikor Mistarba. The Chazi L'Para. But it is the right amount for a cow. So I'm taking it back. He took it out for a camel. And at the end of the day, it's the right amount, it's a good shear for a cow. Elo Kiyasa Ravan Omar, if he takes out the right amount for a cow, but he took it out for a camel. So, Nachamal, let's start over. You're talking about regular, what's the case? You're talking about straw. Straw that is good food for a cow, and he gave it the right amount for a cow, but he wants his camel to eat it. In other words, the shear is the right amount. The shear is teven, kipipara. That's what the Mishnah says. That when you're talking about straw, the upper part of the straw, then the right amount is the mouth of a cow. And that's what he took out. So why is he not chayiv? He's not chayiv because he wants to feed it to his camel. And his camel has a larger mouth. So what? Adarabba. It's the right amount for a cow. Who cares that he didn't want to take it out? He wanted to take it out for his camel. Says the Gemara, you're right. If he took out the right amount for a cow, and it's the right food for a cow, and the right amount for a cow, but he took it out for a different animal, a larger animal, called a gamal. Of course he's chayiv, because he took out the right amount. I don't care that he wants to feed it to. So let's say you take out a gregeres, right? That's the amount for a human being. You take out cake for a human, but you have intent to give it to an elephant. So what? I took out the amount for a human being, a gregeres. I don't care. The elephant won't even feel it. You'll put it in his mouth. It's like less than a drop for a human being. Chayiv. The case is different. I took out camel food. I want to feed it to my cow, which the cow typically doesn't eat it, and it's the right amount for a cow. But typically, in order to be chayiv, I have to take out the right amount for a gumel, which is much larger. I took out the smaller amount that's enough for a cow, but a cow doesn't usually eat it. So what do I do? But it's the exact reverse. Why? Yes, the cow, if he's starving, he'll eat it, but that's not considered an achila. We have this concept a lot in Shas. Achila yedei atchak, shma achila, lo shma achila. So Rabbi Yochanan holds it's not considered an achila. If it's not an achila, the real shear, the proper shear to be over, is a full mouth of a camel. You didn't bring out the full mouth of a camel. You want to stuff it into a cow. It doesn't work. It's yedei atchak. He's not going to really eat it. He has to eat it. He's going to throw up after. It's not achila. The cow benefited from it somewhat. He ate it at the end. You forced him to eat it. So yes, it's not the shear of a camel. It's the smaller shear. You're chayiv. You take out the other piece of the straw. It's the size of a sheep's mouth. But somewhere else it says the size of a dried fig. It says the Gemara, it's one shear. As Taisvas, it's one shear, so why don't you just make it simpler? We know what a dried fig is. Say dried fig. Why are you telling me the mouth of a goat? Who has a mouth of a goat to start comparing something? Today we don't have dried figs either? Okay, fine. I think it's easier to get a goat than Ramat Bet Shemesh than a dried fig. So, says Taisvas, the Gemara is telling you, where do we come up with this mouth of a how do we come to the gregaris? We came to the gregaris not because it's human food. I think that's what Tais is trying to say here. Typically, a gregaris tells me automatically you're talking about human consumption. Cake, gregaris. Steak, gregaris. And if it would say that straw is gregaris, you think because people eat it. No. The reason it's a gregaris is because goats eat it. And a goat's mouth is the size of a gregaris. Nothing to do with human consumption. Ali shum v'ali b'tzolim lachem kegregeres v'yiveshim k'meloi gdi v'yimstarfim zemzeh v'vnei shaloi shavu b'shireh. So the Mishnah tells us halacha, finishes off that you cannot combine two different shiurim, one with another. On Rabbi Yosef bar Chanina, a mitzdarfim l'chomer shabem. So Rabbi Yosef bar Chanina says, listen, we're not talking about the leaves. By the way, Seth, don't worry, we're getting, when we turn the page, and Vavam Beis, then you'll be able to use your brand new Gemara. The new Perek, Hamoitzi Yain. So meanwhile, you're going to have to suffer with whatever you have over there, the internet, whatever. Don't think that this shear of this idea that you cannot combine two shiurim is only talking about, first of all, the leaves of a onion and garlic. It's everything. And it's not exactly like you think. Says the Gemara. So just as an example, simple example. Let's say I tell you the shear of gold is 16 ounces. In order to be over gold, you have to pick up 16 ounces of gold and bring it into the Rishus Rabbim. Obviously, it's much less because gold is so valuable. But you only have 15 ounces of gold. 15. Now, could you take 1 ounce of silver and add it to the 15 of gold and go out? No, because silver is less valuable. So an ounce of silver doesn't add up to the 15 ounces of gold to make it 16. But the reverse, if you have 15 ounces of silver and you need 16 ounces in order to go into Rishus Rabbim, and you added 1 ounce of gold, since gold is much more chashuv, of course you could add it to the silver and you're over Issa D'Oraisa. So if you take it to food, the same thing applies. If I'm missing a half a dried fig worth of food from a camel food. Now, camel food is this much. It's his entire mouth. So if I take the smaller shear of a goat's mouth, which is the most chomer shear, the size of a gregaris, and I add it to the camel food, bam, now I have the shear, I'm over the Issa D'Oraisa. But in the reverse, if I need a gregaris of goat food to go out and be over. And instead of a gregaris, all I have is a half a gregaris. So I take some hay from the barn, and I add it to this half a gregaris, and I say, now you have a full gregaris. That doesn't work. Because the hay that a camel eats, the bean, I never heard of it, this bean straw that camels eat, eitza, is kal. And kal doesn't go together with chamur. Ask the Gemara, "V'chol d'lo shavu b'shirayu mi mitzarfim." I don't care, gold and silver, silver and gold. Nothing should be mitzaref. Zero. How can you mitzaref anything? Every item you should have the full amount of that item. How can you take another type of food, mix yogurt together with steak, and say, "Oh, now I have a gregaris"? It doesn't work. Listen, by the tomb of Medrash, when a zav, a nida, they stand on something, they touch something, the tomb of Medrash. It says, what's the shir? Habeged shleisha shleisha. So, this is a beged. The shir is 3 tvachim by 3 tvachim. The one right above it is a sack. Now, instead of doing square, I found the sacks. I thought it was cooler, but it's a square, yeah? 4 by 4. Slightly larger than this beged. That's the shir. If a tamei, a zav, zava, stand on it, sit on it, becomes tamei. Has to be 4 by 4. Leather, 5 by 5. Reeds, a mat, 6 by 6. Says the Gemara, says the Mishnah. Habeged shloisha shloisha. Sak dal dal. Vor chomish chomish. Mapots shisha shisha. V'tani Allah habeged v'asak. So the halacha is each one can combine with the one next to it. This could combine. 6 could combine with the 5 guy with the leather. Leather can combine with sack. Sack can combine with the beged. But you cannot take a beged and combine it with the mat. The blue and the mat don't go together. Says Reb Shimon, what's the reason? Explains Rashi. If I have a problem with my saddle, my mule saddle, I'll take any one of these. Let's say my saddle's made out of leather. I'll take the sack for time being and put a little bit of a fix there. I'll whatever. What is it called? What you have on your pants when you're a little kid? A patch. I'll put a patch on my saddle. Saddle patch. Great. Says the Gemara, well, you need a good reason. So I had a good reason. I could put a saddle patch. But what's the reason in food? How do you combine 2 foods together? There's no good reason. Time in the room, time of Moshe. A goat doesn't eat the camel food, and a camel doesn't eat the goat food. So how can you combine the two? Yes, this is more chashuv, it's a smaller shear, it's this, that, but they don't combine together. If I give the camel a lot of grass, a lot of the leaves of garlic, he won't eat it. He's used to bean straw. So just because the garlic comes in a smaller shear, how can you be mitzaref it to the bean straw? I'll tell you why. Turn the page, Daf Yomi Beis. If a guy is selling a product, so he has a bunch of different products next to each other. He says, look, I sell the bean straw, I sell the grass, I sell this. So they do combine in one area. Since they combine in that area, so now I can combine them together, the chomer with the kal. Not the kal to the chomer, but the chomer to the kal. Just like I have by the saddle. Once in a million years, a guy takes a piece of sack made out of goat hair and he plugs up a hole that he has in the saddle. So therefore, all other places that I have a beged and I have now they combine. Okay, so here also I have a guy that runs around from city to city trying to sell off animal food, and he puts them together on the same little dish, and he says, look, I sell this, I sell this. So mele they combine. Says the Mishnah, Hamoiti acholim kigregeres. So this is halacha mishum Sinai. All food that humans eat, the shear is gregaris. There's no difference. The following Mishnah in the next parak talks about liquids. Umitzdarfim zemzeh. And since they all have one shear, so yes, I can combine yogurt with a steak in order to be chayiv anoitzah. They're all one shear. One shear means I could be mitzvah of everything. But I cannot include chutz mikli pason. I don't include the shell, the garineim, and the pit, v'uktzeim, and the stem. Yesterday I was doing the 8-minute daf, and in the middle of the 8-minute daf, I get to this, and the ukitz, and I wrote down ukitz, and I'm like, how do you say ukitz in English? And I'm like, the brown thing, the branch, I didn't say stem. At the end I didn't say stem, and I didn't re-record, whatever. That's how it happens sometimes, a lot of times, every night. Anyway, The Garinei Vuktzei v'suban umursanan, bran. So there's a certain bran you take off, you peel it off, you get rid of it. There's the heavier bran, the lighter bran, suban, mursan. Now, when you cook challah, you have challah, you eat the bean with its peel, with the whatever, the klipa. You eat the arbus, you're gonna eat it with the, so it's part of it. So if it's part of it, you can't start taking it off and start counting and start measuring without the klipa. That's something you eat. Something you eat. Watermelon, I take off the peel, so I cannot count the peel of a watermelon together with my watermelon. But beans are different. Says the Gemara, what are you telling me? Bran is not included? Of course it's included. 5 quarters of kemach. In other words, 1 1/4 kav requires challah. But over there it says in the Mishnah, hein v'suban umursanan. You can include the bran. You don't have to take out the bran. Very, very different. As Rashi explains, that by challah it says lechem haaretz, the bread of the ground for the common folks. Now look what the Gemara says here. If you're a health nut, you're a poor guy. You're a nebuch. Don't be healthy. Don't eat bran eat the proper bread. So a poor guy, he'll eat it with the bran, the whole wheat, the whole grain thing. I don't know how they eat it. Regular people don't. So Mamela what? On Shabbos, it's not chashav enough. It's so not chashav what this poor person, this whole wheat stuff that's so healthy, is so not chashav, says the Gemara, that if I take out a bread of whole wheat on Shabbos, I'm not over that shear. I need the real shear. Now, Rabbi Schoenberg pointed out to me this morning, Chavali's not here. Chavali can't talk. I love when he tells us his information, but basically, he's saying to be careful when we make challah today, because over here he brings a ritva that if you remove the bran from the wheat, and then you reintroduce it, and that's basically what they do today, I guess. That's what he's trying to explain to me. I think that's what he's trying to say. If you take it out, and I see him shaking his head probably, I don't even see him, but I know in Jashir, he goes, no. And then he'd say a nice explanation of how it works today and what we should be careful. But Kitzer, if you think that 5 cups of flour, whatever it is chayav challah, says Rabbi Schoenberg, be careful. Because what happened was they removed the bran. And then they reintroduced the bran. And reintroducing the bran, that bran is not chashiv anymore. So what we have today is flour with what they reintroduced. According to the Ritva, you can't count that bran. So memeli you have to take off minus whatever percentage that bran is, 10%, 20%. Yeah, Rabbi Schoenberg, am I saying it okay? Now I see you. Rabbi Schoenberg, just shake your head, yes, no. Oh, he could talk. But we have 5 minutes left. What are you saying, Rabbi Schoenberg?
Yes, the Bazats in the Madras Kashrus.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. But we have 5 minutes left, so you got to make it quick.
The Bazats in Madras Kashrus said that you have to allow 15% for
15%
flour. So that means that if you would normally take challah starting at 1,200 gram, it would be you'd already have to start taking challah at a lower figure.
I'm just getting out of the way. Keep on talking. I'm just pointing the camera at you. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
The process of making whole wheat flour is they use the same process to make white flour, take all the bran out, but then to have whole wheat, they put the bran back in. But once the bran's been taken out, it doesn't count as flour anymore, and therefore the volume is much greater than you need.
I hear.
They talk about 15%.
Beseder, Yeshua Koyach. Thank you, Rabbi Schoenberg. What's your plan? You coming back to the Bismesh with everybody else, or are you going to keep it safe?
I have to get a bit younger.
Okay. That's what I thought. But you are the first person that I had on my list to invite, together with Dr. Epstein. So you decide what you want, and you'll tell us in the registration form what you want to do, when you want to come back. Whenever you want to come back, you are invited, especially that you were there from day one, and you sit right next to me. So I'm looking forward to that day. All right, but by the way, we're still going to have Zoom, and we just bought 2 giant screen TVs that are going to go in the back of the Beis Medrash, facing me, not facing everybody else. So everybody on Zoom is going to, so we're going to have, Be'ez Hashem, the 80 people, when that day comes, in the live, plus hundreds of people on the screens right in front of me. It's going to be amazing. So then you could, Rabbi Schoenberg, you'll talk from there, from the Zoom. We'll still have the same capabilities. Says the Gemara weiter. Rabbi Yehuda oimer chutz miklipi adoshim ma'mizbash lo yisimayim. Adoshim in poilin loy. You tell me only lentils, but not beans. Vatanya Rabbi Yehuda oimer chutz miklipi poilin v'adoshim. Rabbi Yehuda sticks them both in the same category, like I did by mistake in the Mishnah. Like Asher. When you're talking about fresh beans, then they're counted as one. People eat fresh beans with the, like we do in Challah. Atiki, when you're talking about older beans, not. Atiki my time eloy omer bavo mipnei shenirim kizvuvim beka'ara, because they look like dead flies in your food. They turn black and they look like disgusting things. And memela, it's not appetizing. If it's not appetizing, then it doesn't have chashivas. Hadrun aloch klal godol, hadrun aloch klal godol, hadrun aloch klal godol. When Noam came over yesterday, we were discussing this parak, klal godol, and we're talking about what an amazing parak and what amazing concepts it has. It started off with Tuma and Tyra, and yesterday we were talking about psikreisha de. You cut off an animal's head, it's 100% going to die, and you say, well, I didn't want it to die. I wanted to keep it alive because the blood is clearer and better, and therefore you're not chayiv. And it says Rashi in Sukkah, because then it turns you into a not miskaven. And we went through that in about 45 seconds flat, and we went weiter. And when we were in yeshiva, we would take a concept like that, and I was in Passaic, we would learn something like that for over 2 weeks. We go through all Reb Chaim's and Reb Baruch Ber's and understand the concept deeper and bring it from all Shas and all the raid. And us as Daf Yomi people, we learn a concept like that, poof, next. But I want to say there's still something to it, there's a lot to it, learning the concepts, knowing you can learn one concept for 2 weeks and miss out. Every single daf has concepts. And it's as amazing as the sugya is, knowing everything, like Rav always says, you learn everything, then you could go back and study it deeper. But there's a lot to Daf Yomi of learning the concepts and learning more concepts, and it's just very interesting. Hadron alach klal. Next parak. Hamoitzi yayin. So we'll just continue with the same thing. We're talking about Oitzah again, and now I didn't even know why it's a new parak. We're talking about food. What the shear for food? Well, there's a shear for liquids. Yayin kidei mezigas hakois. So in those days, you take a little bit of strong wine and you would add water. How much? We'll see. 1 part wine, 3 parts water, 1 part wine, 2 parts water. We'll see. As Rabbi Schoenberg once explained to us when we were learning, I think, Avodah Zarah, he was saying that in those days they didn't have a good filtration system and water was actually dangerous to drink. I think he said that. And so people would like add wine to the water to make the water better. I think you said that, did you? I don't know, just shake your head. You don't have to give us a drasha now. Fine. So something like that. Who cares? The point is, in those days, the wine was diluted by a lot. More than double, maybe triple or more. We'll see. So it's enough to make such a cup of wine. And we'll see in the Gemara. Chalav, how much is the shear for milk? Kidei Gemia, very interesting shear. It's less than a revius. It's a gulp worth. What you fill up your mouth and gulp down. Dvash, how much for honey? Kidei litin ala kasis, to put on a wound. Rashi starts off saying on a wound of an animal, of a horse. Then he says, my Rabbeim said it's a wound of a human being on the bottom of his foot. Whatever. Shemen, oil, to anoint a small limb. The Gemara will explain. Mayim, how much for water? To make an anointment for the eye. Ushar kol hamashkim, everything else is a revius. Says Rashi, what's a revius? 1.5 eggs. A revius means a quarter of what? A quarter of a log. In our days, we always like to say it's between 3 to 5 ounces, somewhere in that realm. Reb Shimon Oimer, kulon berevius. Reb Shimon argues. So this is going back to the Mishnah we had on Ein Hem Beis that we started off today. Reb Shimon Shita. What does he hold? Reb Shimon Oimer, kulon berevius. Not true. All the shiurim are revius. V'lo nemru kol shiurim alalo elo natzneim. Says Reb Shimon that I hold that somebody that's matzniya needs a shear. If you're going to hide it, at least have a shear. But if you remember, our Mishnah, the Tanakama of our Mishnah, doesn't hold to that. If you decide that a tissue is something you want to keep, so you're over on a tissue. You don't need a shear for a tissue. For you. Then came Reb Shimon and said, then you make the tissue also for everybody. But our Tana holds that a pachas make a shear. If you decide a pachas make a shear, for you it's also. Says the Gemara, just one more minute. Tana. Kedei mezikas kais yafa. It has to be, this wine is for a beautiful cup, umay kais yafa, kaishal bracha, the cup of benching. As we learned in brachas, if you remember, a cup of benching needs 10 things. Rashi brings a bunch of them. There's hadacha, you have to wash it inside and outside, and you have to do eater with cups, and you have to wear a hat, a special hat. Remember, we discussed hats, I still wear a hat. What happened to Nachum Harvitz? Uh-oh. Is everybody, it just looked like everybody was paused for a second. So, a bunch of different things. You have to hold it with your right hand, you have to lift it up a tefach off the ground. Fine. So, Kaishu Bracha, Tzorch Shia B'Roiva Revius. It needs a quarter of Revius. Kedei Shim Zimgeno V'Yamada Revius. That when you add 3/4 water to that 1/4 wine, now you have a Kais Shel Bracha. Noam, get ready. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Shema Lois, Mimama Kinkar Sicha Adonai.
Shema Lois, Mimama Kinkar Sicha Adonai.
Adonai, Shema B'Kolitin, Oz Necha Kashavos V'Kol Tachanai.
Adonai, Shema B'Kolitin, Oz Necha Kashavos
Adonai, Tishmaya, Adonai Miyamoi.
Adonai, Tishmaya, Adonai Miyamoi.
Chas Lichol Lema'ai Tivoe.
Chas Lichol Lema'ai Tivoe.
Yisrael Negiv Sanafshi V'Libro Chalti.
Yisrael Negiv Sanafshi V'Libro Chalti.
Shil Adonai Mishamrim Laboiker, Shemrim Laboiker.
Shil Adonai Mishamrim Laboiker, Shemrim
Laboiker.
Laboiker.
Adonai, Kim Adonai Chesed V'Albei Mo'Kedu.
Chesed Adonai, Kim Adonai Chesed V'Albei
Yisrael Mikol Chol V'Nisah.
Okay, Rachamaleim. Simon Levacha. Hello. Stop at the zone Koriv. Thank you. Edgware, London. Edgware is London, right?
Eli, you're muted. You have to unmute yourself.
Oh, that's right. I was just saying, I see somebody from Edgware. Edgware is London, right? Is England somewhere? I think.
Ellie, thank you so much.
Yeshua. Yes, good.
Have a great day, everybody.
Yishkoyach, everybody.
More than 1,200, not less.
What did you say? You're talking to me?
It should be more than 1,200. I think Yankee said it should be less than 1,200.
1,200 what?
He corrected himself.
For flour, for challah.
Rabbi Leader, are you coming back?
Do you make a siyum when you finish a volume of article or just the barrack?
Depends how many siyum you want to make.
What?
Depends how many siyum you want to make.
It is an accomplishment. You finish an art scroll, it's an accomplishment. Listen, Mati, only make a siyum on art scroll if you do all the notes on the bottom. If you do all the notes on the bottom, you can make a siyum on art scroll.
If you're sponsoring,
Yeah, exactly.
Is this the end of the post-Zoom chat?
If you could, Yankee.
Not when we go to base measures. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be probably the last day. Tomorrow, Motzei Shabbos. You guys are going to chat. Listen, Victor, I know you're going to chat. I know it. I know you're going to chat. It doesn't matter where we are and how we are.
It goes by volume.
I like the idea of the shir being the chevra, so that's what I have. So we have a good chevra afterwards. We have some standard people that stay every day. We chat, we talk, we have a good time together.
100%. 100%.
was today a record for the most Mishnayot learned in one day? I think we learned 4 different Mishnayot.
Yeah, I don't think it's a record, but it might be up there. Reb Ezra, what's going to be? Reb Ezra, you're going to continue joining us from Australia when we go to the base medrash?
Yeah, try to. It's the middle of the day over here. That's the problem.
Why is that a problem? The problem is if it's the middle of the night.
Should be the night chair. Once we start the night chair, he'll be able to join that.
Josh, please, stop with the night chair. We're all used to doing the morning chair now. Come on, don't do that to me. I was thinking one good thing came out of Corona. I don't have to do the night chair anymore.
Wait, Sunday no more night share?
We gotta give you a few days. We'll give you a week, maybe a few days.
Oh my gosh. Please.
Ellie, I really appreciate you letting me sponsor a daf today. And it was so emotional. And Bittul Etzel Kol Adam is in Sukkah in the beginning, on Hayam and Aleph, and a Shira. Wow. Also, Shirin Chatitzes and Mechitzes are all Halacha Moshe Meshinai.
The whole Shas ties into Masechta Sukkah, Yeshua. The whole Shas,
Yeah,
I see.
of course. I love you, Ellie. A lot more undercover stuff going on. Hopefully, let me donate a few more shares.
You only get one share per year. You just used it up. Yeah.
Sure, don't worry. I've got your back. I'll put your name under something else.
Rabbi Yoeli, was Herzach Rabbi Yoeli from Lakewood. Was Herzach?
Baruch Hashem, what's going on? Shkoyach.
Shkoyach to you. I love Lakewood guys. Lakewood guys are amazing. You know Rabbi Frol Yoselevsky?
I don't. I'm a Brooklyn guy. I'm a Brooklyn kid. You know?
He's also from Brooklyn, but he has this long, giant beard. He joins us all the time. He sends us pictures, emails, the whole zach. It doesn't hurt that he's my cousin, but whatever. A little biased. He's from Brooklyn. Where in Brooklyn did you go? Oh yeah, you told us. 45th Street and 9th Avenue or something, whatever, over there.
There you go. They have the Schreiber.
The what?
Joe Schreiber, no?
Yeah. What cheder did you go to?
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. I'm still
Which
here.
one?
Yeah.
Be careful what you say about me. I can hear you.
Of course. Yoli, what did you say? Which cheder?
I started with Skver.
Which one? Which one? Which skver?
Sorry?
Which skver?
43rd and 14th.
Oh, you started in the real skver.
The real stuff.
I went to the one. Also went to skver, believe it or not. I went to Beis Yitzchak on 45th Street and 14th Avenue.
Really?
Yeah, that's the fake skver. That's a lot of Litvish kids went there.
Where's the payas?
Oh man, I have payas. You don't have payas?
By the way, you used to mention Karl and Stalin.
Yeah.
When I was living in Brooklyn, I used to go Motzei Yom Kippur to the Karl and Stalin Shul in Borough Park because they would have a big celebration to celebrate the fact that the Kohen Gadol came out alive and healthy. So it started with the Birkas HaChodesh, Birkas Kiddush Levana across the street where, as you